He circles around the theater over everyone's head, and then he comes center stage, hovering above, and tips the front of the car down to take his bow, and then circles to the right and takes his bow to the right, and then circles to the left, circles around the audience, and comes down for a soft landing as Jeremy and Jemima jump out of the car and run towards the front center stage to take. I mean, he made it a whole,
you can picture the whole thing. I'm
Yeah.
sitting here picturing it, right?
Yeah, it was very descriptive.
My sister loves audio description around when we watch movies together now. But when it wasn't available, I'd hear that music or I'd hear that tone. And I'm like, what's happening? What's happening? I'll tell you later. She's sitting there going, just kind of reacting. Whoa, and well, what's going on? Let me tell you later. Oh, I forgot.
What do you love about theater?
Oh, I love the singing. I love the camaraderie between the people in the shows. I love the dancing and the hurrying to get off stage and, to get back on. It's just, it's something that I love doing, and this is the first show I've done since before COVID, was Hunchback, and it was nice, because it's,
Get back out there.
Get out there and sing.
The first level of accommodation is captions. It's not ideal, as you know. Reading something in a second language that you may or may not be fluent in can be challenging. Next step up would be providing sign language interpreters.
As sign language interpreters, part of our role is to also interpret culture. And I've taken multi-part national level tests, and every year have education requirements that I need to complete in order to maintain my certification to work as an interpreter. And to interpret without a certification in the state of Utah is illegal. So if you have a deaf person and a hearing person and somebody in the middle passing that information along, that's interpreting. If you have an actor on stage who is signing, they're not interpreting, they're producing the content in a different language. So that's okay. It would also, this is something that in the interpreting world here in Northern Utah, we're kind of grappling with right now, is providing access at rehearsals, because deaf people audition for shows and maybe they can get an interpreter at an audition, but because of the way that budgets work and time, and you all know how much work goes into a show, to have an interpreter at every rehearsal is extremely expensive. Again, not because we're trying to rob people of their money, but it's a certified profession, and it's how we pay our bills too.
The more effective way of interpreting for a show requires a whole lot more work, because you go through and you assign parts just like a cast member. The best that I have ever seen of a deaf-blind person being accommodated, that one deaf-blind person had 6 interpreters working for them. One for this hand, they had another interpreter for this hand. So this hand would do one character who's on stage, and this hand would do another character that's interacting, because deaf-blind interpreting looks like this, right? And then they would have other interpreters in the wings who would play the other characters. Then they have a person whose job it is on the deaf-blind person's body to show them what's happening on stage. So for example, They will frequently use the back, and that becomes the stage. So Maria's over here and the captain's over here, and Maria walks over this way and the captain walks over this way. And then the kids come in. So one person is doing stage movement. Then there's another person who is typically interpreting on the deafblind person's thighs about incidental pieces of information. Like they've moved into the ballroom, or the audience right now is cheering and clapping and singing along. They have to take all of this, both visual and auditory information, and give it to them somewhere on the body. So there are very few people out there who are expert in providing that level of accommodation. But I can tell you, when you see it, oh my gosh, it is magic. Absolute magic.